I'm getting psyched.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate?
Max, Verstappen. Oh man. Remember how no one remembered that Max could be a jerk on the track? Why does F1 have the shortest memory in the world?
The fan base is like literally their SD cards. You just like take a few pictures, offload it, format.
It's a very short-term memory.
Maybe two races. Two races
Yeah.
is all they've got capacity for.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just out.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun that they were reminded that, when Max is actually racing for points,
Yeah.
he's a jerk. He has his elbows out and he's going to play right up to the edge of the rules.
A little past.
Yeah.
A little past.
Great. It's great.
He's going to play right up to that track limit.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that now Lando is a man now.
Maybe.
Phil, for me.
You think so?
Yeah, for me. I'm starting to see him as an actual man now.
A man.
And up until this point, he's just been like happy-go-lucky
Just
Lando.
a boy. Yeah.
He got his first win.
Yeah.
He's still like, my friends are out there racing with me. And
Yeah.
now he's like, oh, there is hatred.
Yeah.
And I taste it now.
Oh, now you tried to take
Welcome
this
to
away
the
from
world.
me?
Welcome to the world of racing.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about that later in the episode.
Sometimes I think the more awkward, the better.
It's high-speed business at a record pace.
Get 70 miles per gallon on this fucker. It's a ship that made the
Yo.
We haven't listened to
pass
the
it
song
up.
in a while.
Spark a joint. Haas. Double points in Austria, boys. Heck yeah. Dude, that's the top news story of the whole year.
There is no other news.
Yeah.
P6.
Haas with the double points in Austria. Again.
The
exact same positions, too.
Right.
That is weird.
Just
but man,
killing
great
it.
news.
Just so amazing.
As Haas fans, it was so cool.
Yeah.
There is so much to talk about from the Austrian Grand Prix.
So much.
We're going to talk about it all today.
We're going to talk about every single second of
Welcome
it.
to the Fast Ones.
Yes.
My name is Max, and I'm here with Mike.
How's it going, everyone?
We're going good.
Good.
I'm everyone.
You are all of everyone.
Mike knows a lot about Formula One,
Sometimes.
and I sometimes know a little bit about Formula One. But I know that this week was a fun race.
It was a really good race.
Yeah, man. Let's just start talking about Haas and their double point finish, because then we're going to get into the actual ending of the race. The Haas double point was amazing.
It was great. And I obviously am just stoked to see the team capable of pulling that finish off. The car is really well designed for the
Austrian Grand Prix?
Red Bull Ring. Yeah.
Why is it just this race that we now have had double point finishes?
I mean, it's just one of those things where Williams and its lack of aerodynamics is really fast at Monza.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And it's weird dark horse that they're fast there.
This
Whereas
is ours.
this is oddly specific
Mhm.
for what the Haas chassis is good at.
Yeah.
And it was great to see.
It was great to see. And Perez could not get by the Haas.
He definitely couldn't.
No, and it is crazy
Right.
that Max is up at the front, cruising with
Miles
that Red Bull,
ahead. Yeah.
and Perez can't get past the Haas. What is that saying about one? Haas is kicking butt, and Nico
Cruising.
Hülkenberg, I think he's making a big mistake going to Audi.
I do too. I actually think that I'm curious if he's in the back of his head a little
He's
going,
like, oh no,
oh geez,
I'm going to be back at the back again, and Haas is
Where did-
climbing up.
where did Valtteri finish?
Jeez.
Yeah. So
And Perez can't get past this Haas.
no,
It is wild.
look, they've had a solid year, but now they're
Mhm.
like really in 7th place.
Yeah.
The neighboring teams are nowhere near the amount of points
Mhm.
right now
Yeah.
for, I'm like, it would take the kind of tremendous weekend that Haas just had
Mm-hmm.
to pass them.
But
And
honestly,
that's huge.
We have been in this situation in years past
Right.
where we are ahead in the points in terms of we're in 8th or 7th
right,
and we're looking good.
right.
And it's going to be like this. But then these other teams
They sneak out
start
of nowhere.
clicking and we start falling behind, and
Right.
then we're back to the 10th position.
But
what?
last year we finished with 12 points total. I think right now we have 19.
19.
So
Yeah.
we're already 7 points ahead of
Uh-huh.
last season's grand total,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Huge. Can we just give a big shout out to like Ayo Komatsu?
Crushing it.
Yeah, crushing it.
Yeah, killer. I mean, we just... This is for him. Yeah, so I'm... That was just... That's just for Io.
Jeez.
Yeah. So,
Oh wow, the new hot clip.
The new
is
hot
George
clip.
Russell quoting Fred Flintstone. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, you fell out of your chair.
With that
a full
freaking George Russell clip.
Anyways,
I
continue.
didn't know he had said that. You had told me on the phone. You're like, did you hear when George Russell was like, yabba dabba do? And I was like, please tell me that didn't happen. And to play it then? That was amazing.
So Io
But yabba dabba do to
deserved
a big yabba dabba do
a
to
big
Ayo Komatsu.
yabba dabba do. Which is apparently the new F1
The
catchphrase.
cringiest celebratory word.
I'm pretty sure that he starts to say boom shakalaka, but he like loses his breath.
Ah.
Because listen.
Yeah.
Well done, mate.
He was going through
do you
it.
hear
Yeah,
him?
he says boom
And then he's like, yabba dabba do.
Do you think that before the season or before some races, George sits down with his parents and they go through different little celebratory catchphrases?
They just put a mirror in front of him.
And
They're like, you just
okay,
look at
they're
yourself.
like,
in the mirror.
George, we went through some fun ideas.
Okay.
Boom shakalaka. And he practices it a couple times. Wahoo. And he's like, that's a bit generic. And like, what about yabba dabba do? And so he practices those.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the race hits. He gets stage fright.
Yeah,
And he
he's
goes through
just
all
like,
three of them.
boom shakalaka yabba dabba do.
Jeez.
Do you think
Jeez.
Komatsu struggles
No.
with the same thing?
No, he's awesome.
He's just a
stone
rock
cold rock
solid.
star.
He just as soon as the race is over, he just
He's back to business, dude.
and walks off the pit wall.
We talked about at the beginning of the season, Ayo Komatsu hopefully having a better strategy than Gunter Steiner.
Yeah,
Last year, Gunter Steiner seemed to be like, ooh, we're just going to hope for something
total.
to upset the race, and we're going to be opportunistic and get the points.
Absolutely.
This year, I feel like we're sticking to a better plan of like actually strategizing
Right.
and going for our own points.
And sticking with
and
it.
sticking with it.
I feel like maybe, and again, this is from the outsider perspective, so
Yeah.
if someone from Haas is listening, please correct us. But it seemed as though that like in the previous years, it was calling audibles.
Uh-huh.
Last minute being like,
Yep.
But in addition to that, also tire degradation was so great that they were having to pit way more frequently than they wanted to.
Right.
Now that that's kind of sorted out, it is great to see them be able to execute a strategy and really
Yeah.
nail it, really
Mm-hmm.
be competitive with the cars around them.
Yeah, and if they continue to just follow that same strategy throughout the rest of the year, I feel like our points will continually get up.
Yeah, it'll
Like,
continue to grow.
We're not
Yeah.
going to be at risk again of falling back to 10th like we have been in previous seasons.
Totally.
With these other teams catching up. If we're consistent, then like, yeah, consistently we'll get better.
Right.
I love that plan.
Definitely.
So, big congrats to the Haas team. Chloe Chambers won.
Oh, we need to talk about
Yeah.
that.
She's
Chloe
doing
Chambers
great.
won in Barcelona, and that was huge.
Yeah, she's doing really great.
So awesome. She was competitive in both races, but she won the second one.
Yeah.
And just huge. And I mean, like in F1 Academy, there's only been a couple of races so far, but I've actually been really stoked to see the variety of who's on the podium. It's very, I mean, Formula One this year, I'm going to sound like I'm going to eat my words a little bit, has actually been, I think it's, what did they say, 11 races so far?
Yeah.
And there have been 5 different drivers win.
It's been a bit of a shakeup since last year
And
compared to last year.
4 constructors on the podium consistently, like of the variety.
Way different than last year.
Way different than last year. In Formula One Academy, it's great to see that Haas is competitive. They've got a winning car, and Chloe won the race for them, which was cool. Just so cool.
Yeah.
Out of the few races they've won, Haas has already secured a win.
Yeah.
So way to go, Chloe.
Way to go,
Amazing
Chloe.
stuff.
That was really cool. So now we've done talking about the Haas.
Right.
Now let's talk about the actual action.
Let's talk about how
Charles
things unfolded.
Leclerc started off terribly.
Yes.
Too bad. It was too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Charles Leclerc fans.
Right.
They think they're like paying for the price of him winning in Monaco now.
Well.
Or is it just like this is his luck coming back into action again? Damaged his front wing.
Right.
Had to go right back into the pits and then was at the back of the race trying to fight up the whole time.
Well, and he admitted that he pretty much destroyed the floor in qualifying.
Oh, that's tough.
He came off of he went into the gravel and into the grass on the final turn, going, Mach 5. And he hit the grass and you just see him, he just chucks. It just like Chucky Leclerc and just airborne, fully destroyed the floor. Ferrari had a really big task to get that car ready for Sunday.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they never got it back. And that's my assessment.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure they had all the parts to replace the floor and everything. But when you do that kind of damage, sometimes the suspension geometry might be slightly different or something.
Dang.
And there's only so much time to continue to repair a car.
He had a lot he was
like
fighting
that.
with. Yeah. So I watched the first bit of the race. My nephews happen to be staying over at my house. And they wake up early and want to play the Switch. And so they came and bugged me until I was like, okay, I'll come play the Switch with you.
Yes.
And I paused the race. I went and played Switch. I came back to the race and it just started playing from where it was live, which was like lap 50 or something.
They were like,
So I was like, okay, nothing really has changed.
Yeah.
But then it got really good.
They got great from
Holy
that point.
cow.
Yeah, it got hectic.
It was crazy. The
Yeah.
McLarens are looking so deadly now.
Yeah, very solid. Way more solid than Ferrari, which is, if you go back and listen 3 episodes ago, well, I think I was completely sold that Ferrari was going to make this season interesting.
Very sold on the Ferrari dream, being like, okay, Carlos and Charlos are going to crush it this year.
Yeah.
But no, McLaren has come out of the woodwork just to be like, we are competing now. And
they're very solidly
better
there.
late than never, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, those last few laps, I was like, oh my gosh, Lando could get this.
He's
creeping up on Max.
Yes.
And then Max starts playing like Max does when he's threats of losing actual championship points.
Under pressure.
Yeah. Takes them both out.
Right.
They're gone. And I was so happy.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is great. And then George was in third. And I didn't realize that. I was like, no.
No.
Go back to a Max victory.
Oh, no. Everyone, they make contact. The tires go flat. You look at the scoring pile. Who's in third?
Yeah. That was my legit my experience. Yeah. Who's in third? This is great. Who's in third? And just out of the door, it is me, George. No, please. And I was like,
Father, I'm here. I'm here to win it.
Father, for the family.
It's for the family.
I became the biggest Oscar Piastri fan so quick.
I have never.
He was right behind George.
I've never been in a situation where I'm watching an F1 race where I have asked my children to leave the room. Except for this one.
Really?
They were making like tons of noise and playing, and I was like, "Could you know what, guys? Could you just give Dad a minute? Thanks." Close the door, and I'm like, "Come on, get it, Oscar!
Oscar, go!"
Oh my gosh, I've never willed something so hard.
Yeah.
To try to just get the universe to turn on its head and give Oscar the power.
Oh my gosh! And there was a moment where George had passed Lewis. I was like, man, I went back and I was like, man, Lewis, no.
Yeah.
Oh, if only you had not let that happen. You could have got that win.
So Lewis had damage. He was carrying it the whole race.
Wow.
And so
shoot, that was Lewis's race to win too.
Yeah.
Shoot. There was, and like if we go back to saying, this is fun. Anyone can win these races now.
It is genuinely anyone's game all of a sudden. And
even George's. And it's the worst.
It was still a good race.
It was still a good race. We got a good Yabba Dabba do.
It was just really important.
Yabba Dabba do.
And everyone's wondering why Puma and Tommy Hilfiger have pulled sponsorship from Mercedes next season.
Shut up.
Out. We know the answer.
They're just like, oh, damn it.
The timing seems a little uncanny. when that announcement came out.
They're going to have what? New Balance and Crocs. I'm wearing New Balance, damn it.
I know.
Crocs.
The rumor is Adidas.
Adidas.
Which I think it will actually be kind of cool, but...
Saucony.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
Just like some Amazon brand. It's Amazon Basics fire suit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's up George's alley. Oh man.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was fun to try and root Oscar to just,
how can we will Oscar into winning?
He was gaining. He was catching up.
And I mean, honestly, I believe that the reason that he wasn't able to really catch is that he was on old mediums and George was on fresher hard tires.
Okay.
And so it was it wasn't so much that the Mercedes was quicker. It was more the way the strategy played into George's hands to pick up the pieces at the end of the race.
Yeah.
If those guys had not collided, there's no way. But in addition to that, and one thing that I kind of always feel like is iffy is that they did that brief virtual safety car.
Yeah.
And I think that played really into George's favor big time.
Yeah.
Because it's frozen for those, 2 laps that they did under VSC, the running order and the time gap.
Oh, wait. So under a virtual safety car, can you not you can't bunch up?
No, you remain your gaps.
I didn't know that.
They run at a 40% throttle or something. So it's an engine map in the car, basically, I believe is the way that they do that. I could be completely wrong. But they are basically meant to hold position and time gap. But when
they just took 2 laps out of the race where Oscar could have been making up distance.
Exactly. Plus, George's gap when they started the VSC was like 2.5 seconds. And then when the VSC was over, he was a little over 3. And I just looked at the TV and was a little mad.
Yeah. Who got third? Who ended up Carlos?
Yeah, it was Carlos, Oscar, and George.
Yeah. Oh. Say it.
in the cool down room, they watched the accident.
Yeah.
And George is like, it was a cool battle. It was a cool battle.
Cool battle.
And Oscar's sitting in the chair, like drinking his water bottle. And he's like, yeah, well, you want a race from it. and George kind of like scoffs. And then they show the accident on the screen. And they're all sitting there and they all kind of go, huh. And they all kind of just like awkward and quiet. And Carlos is like, it was going to happen at some point. So it was a good cool down room. I love that. It is the most uncomfortable, the most awkward thing they do in F1 tradition.
People in there that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Different personalities in a little room.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing Carlos Sainz with those two at all.
And it's great because they're unmoderated.
Yeah.
We have those interviews before the races where they're all on the couch and you have the guy moderating like a interview.
Tom Clarkson.
Just like, tell me about this.
Yeah.
This is just them.
Yeah. This is just unfiltered, awkward,
it's
natural
so
sound.
I like that Oscar Piastri, his attitude.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't care.
No, he's just the most.
And he also just does not try to be cool.
Yeah, it's
George
great.
is trying so hard to be cool.
Yeah, but
and Carlos is cool and just is cool.
Yeah, Carlos oozes it a little.
Yeah, it fits. It fits, dude.
Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah.
It's got a vibe.
George is trying so hard. Oh my gosh. And then go back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Max and Lando.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the accident.
We have to actually talk about the accident.
We have to address it now.
Well, we've talked about the horrible aftermath.
Right.
Of George having another freaking win.
A dark weekend for Formula One.
A dark weekend for Formula One.
Very dark
I loved
weekend.
when like the race incident happened and George is in the lead and Toto's on the microphone just like, George, like whatever it was, paraphrasing.
George,
like,
you could win this.
You can win this. And he's like, shut up, I need to drive. And it's like, yeah, like there's no pressure, man. Like you got this. Like just chill, dude.
Yeah.
It's you have it. It's in the bag, man.
Toto,
just don't crash. But he has.
Did you hear Toto's response?
No. What was it?
Toto said he's like, I overreacted and I made the biggest mistake of my career. Like as a rookie, I pushed the button. Was like, George, you can win this. And then George obviously like very quickly fired back, like, let me do it. Let me win.
I was going to say, like, George is overreacting. But no, for sure. No, because he has been in the lead of multiple races and has crashed at the last lap.
He found the gap.
Toto was...
in Singapore.
He's done it multiple times.
Yeah.
Toto was totally justified. in getting on the radio and be like, focus, George.
Yeah.
Don't drop this out.
Totally.
Aim for the track and not the wall.
If that was Lewis, he'd be like, thanks, Toto. Bzz, bzz. But with George, it's like, someone's going to blue shell me.
For England. And he just like goes all the way to the end.
Just through the gravel trap and into a tire barrier. They're like,
Just Forrest Gumps it through the finishing line, through the wall, into the crowd.
they're like, what happened?
I guess he won the race, but also
This is dark tragedy.
died a hero. Anyway, Max and Lando.
Yes.
Max is now feeling the pressure
Yes.
because something that I've been seeing
yeah.
is that Max is now kind of fighting alone at the top of the pack.
Definitely.
Sergio hasn't been performing really well lately,
Struggling.
and they aren't getting as many points as they used to. So the points gap between first and second is getting very small.
Yeah.
I think Max is starting to feel the pressure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So every point is starting to matter now.
Definitely.
And so we're seeing classic Max.
Well, it's twofold,
Yeah, tell me.
right? Because it's the driver points, but it's also constructor points.
Right.
A teammate is really important to being able to, create a valley or a gap between you and the other team.
Yeah, there's strategy you can do with a teammate if they're
Right.
up in second place with you.
Right. And then also adds to constructor standing.
Yeah, and you're getting tons of points from that.
Right. And in this case, Max doesn't have that buffer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyone who's challenging him, Charles or Lando,
Yeah.
at this point, because they're not too far off each other,
Right.
it's a huge threat to Max's championship lead, but also Red Bull's championship lead.
Yeah.
Because McLaren and Ferrari are being consistent.
It's
and
crazy.
so, even though Ferrari might have an off week, they're still getting points, sans other, some
Right.
races where they haven't.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, mainly being fairly consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, Max is kind of in his own league right now. And it's one of two things. It's one of two things that I think I can chalk it up to.
What?
Either Max is really that good,
Mm-hmm.
which we know. Everyone talks about him being just that great.
Mm-hmm.
Or something is just really not right with Sergio's setup.
Mm-hmm. Because he was performing before.
And has.
Yeah.
He always has little windows of
Mm-hmm.
awesomeness where you're like, whoa, I don't recognize that Sergio. But
Yeah.
I do when I go back and I watch other races. I'm like, Sergio's always been consistent.
Yeah.
But with Red Bull's seat 2 inconsistency and their track
Mhm.
record of seat 2 inconsistency
Mm-hmm.
with drivers who have all become so valuable to other teams, Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon,
Mm-hmm.
guys who were fired from Red Bull,
Yeah.
only to just become number ones at other teams.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with seat number 2?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is an interesting talking point about that
Mm-hmm.
is that you and I are similar age,
Mm-hmm.
but we're different heights, we're different body weights.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to fit into a suit
Mm.
that was perfectly tailored for me.
Yeah. It's a different experience.
It's
There's no way I'm going to be able to get in that.
Do you think
It's going to
that
fit weird. It's going to be
you think you're going to
awkward.
feel comfortable
Definitely not.
going out into public with that?
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Cars are these F1 cars are every little minute detail.
They're basically extensions of the driver.
Right.
Yeah.
And if that perfectly tailored suit
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fit the other guy,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, do your best.
Do your best. Yeah.
And I feel like that's been Red Bull's philosophy
Mm.
for years.
Yeah.
And it really shows in moments like this where they need second.
Mm.
They need Sergio to be doing it. And it's just the car is so overly tailored to Max.
It's starting to get problematic for the
And-
second driver.
And I know that like Alex Albon says, no, it's not really tailored to Max. He just loves a really sensitive car. And I'm like, that sounds like it's really tailored to Max.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what, anyways.
It's like he's turned the, what do you call
Sensitivity.
it? Up on the joystick for your Xbox controller.
Yeah, it's like,
That's how he likes it.
that
yeah.
sounds tailored to him.
Yeah.
So
Or Liam Lawson, has he been snooping around Sergio's garage and
Just
tinkering with the engine?
I'm going to loosen this.
Oh, Sergio's performing bad.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know what's going on.
I'll be available.
Yeah. Hey, Christian. How's Sergio's lap times?
Oh, cold. Yeah, it's interesting. I've been seeing races where Max is.
He was first messing with Daniel,
Yeah.
but then he realized, why am I doing that to the lesser team? I need to go to Red Bull.
Yeah, straight to the source. There's like races where Max is like Oscar and Lando are right behind him.
Right,
It's like that's hard to defend against two people.
right.
Anyway, so for Max to crash into Lando to crash into Max, is now we're seeing competitive Max. We saw this with the Lewis 2021 season, and it was fun.
It was so fun.
And I don't think Max is like too much of a villain.
Right.
I just think if you're at the top racing, then you need to be at the top aggressively.
You have to be elbows out.
Elbows out.
Right.
Yeah. Defend your position.
Yeah.
And this is what we're seeing now.
So I have a hot take here.
Yeah. Tell me all your hot takes.
Because I think you're onto something.
Mm-hmm.
Max became a villain really quick with this Lando accident.
Oh, yeah. It's been rose-colored glasses all season.
All season. And all of a sudden it was just like, Max, you child.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was everyone.
Yeah. Formula Dank is like, F Max.
Yeah, it's like, so.
Did you know that he's a jerk?
Yeah, did you guys remember?
It's like, oh, dude.
But I'm starting to feel like, because for the record, Lando Norris has gotten driver of the day for multiple races this year that he did not deserve it. Okay?
Yeah.
But what I want to kind of parallel that with is that Lando's fan base is starting to feel like Team LH.
Oh, yeah.
A little.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But Lando's fan base immediately villainized Max so harshly. I've watched this 15 times.
Yeah, tell me your analysis of the incident. I have no idea how to interpret it because everyone's saying everything.
It is not as cut and dry as everyone is making it sound.
To me, I think there's plenty of space for Lando to not get in a car crash.
There is plenty of space.
That's my analysis,
yes.
and I don't know anything.
Okay, part of that is because Lando has the entire track limit to play with. So that means that his tires could be all the way over.
He could have one little inch on one little tire still on the track.
He could be on that apex with the curb. He has plenty of space to avoid an accident with Max. But he held his ground because proving a point that he's not moving under braking. So that was Lando being a man.
Okay.
Which is something that I can applaud him for.
Yeah, like I said.
Is that he is trying to be like, this is my spot.
He's Mr. Norris.
This is my... he's no longer... baby Lando in a bucket hat.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Norris.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This goatee's a real man's goatee now.
Is he? Is
it a mustache?
Did he lose his virginity before Chuck Norris? Or did Chuck Norris lose his virginity before his dad?
What?
That one. Okay, sorry for the Chuck Norris joke. But Mr. Norris, holding his line, hits the brakes. Max intentionally brakes at an angle. Max is not moving left, though the footage it looks like he's moving left. The steering wheel's straight. And everyone's like, well, you look at the telemetry, Max is intentionally braking a little later than Lando. I'm like, well, yeah. He's in the lead. He's trying to hold it. Yeah. Of course he's going to brake later.
He's intentionally trying to win the race.
Yeah, okay. This is the worst argument I've ever heard. Really, if you're going to make an argument, it's that Max completely misses the apex.
Yeah.
But Max brakes at an angle,
yeah,
holds the line. They both hold their line, and that's when they crash into each other. But it wasn't as like turn into Lando as everyone made it sound.
Okay.
And definitely the camera angle that they showed on TV didn't help. When you watch it from the helicopter above, you see both of them choose their spot, start to brake, and they do come together.
Yeah.
So Max getting a 10-second penalty for this as well was something that I was like, okay, he did run into him, but he was ahead. They weren't axle to axle when they crashed into each other. There's a lot of rules that didn't actually equate correctly. So I'm like, wait a minute. We're really villainizing Max.
Okay.
FIA, a little bit of favoritism maybe towards baby Lando in this one. And Lando was really mad. And I do think that Lando was miffed that Max had moved under braking so many times and so on and so forth. Here's my analysis of this.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen have raced each other since they were children.
Yeah.
It's just a racing incident, right?
Yeah.
We've seen the tape of Harry Potter Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
As cute as a little boy as he can be, saying that it was a racing incident with Max when they were karting.
Yeah.
Charles knows what Max is going to do because they've raced each other forever.
Yeah.
So he knows
his moves. He knows his tricks.
And he knows how to anticipate a Max block and surprise him.
Yeah.
And that's why Charles is so good at racing Max. That's why their racing is so good.
Yeah.
Lando doesn't know that about him. And Lando's this guy he's like, Well, we're friends.
Yeah.
We're pals.
We e-race.
We
play paddleball with each other.
We ride the same private jet sometimes.
Yeah.
We're friends. I can expect him to be fair.
Yeah.
That's where baby Lando isn't Mr. Norris quite
That's where
yet.
baby Lando died. On the track
Exactly.
today.
And I feel like that's maybe what happened in this moment.
Yeah.
This is the evolution. This is his opportunity to be like, I have to be smarter racing him.
Yeah.
I can't expect him to be fair.
No.
He's going to push me. He's
Mhm.
going to do all the wrong things.
Yeah.
So this is where I go, okay, here's the last little bit where I will be critical of Max.
Mm-hmm.
Max, then after the corner, tires are flat, things are just done
Mhm.
for both of them.
Yeah.
But Max moves to push Lando onto the grass again with flat tires.
It was crazy. I was like, aren't they like done?
It was like, Max, move. Just get out of the way. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't apparent that Lando's tire was flat yet,
Mm-hmm.
but Max is like still trying to like push him off the road. It's like, could you give it up?
No, never.
And I honestly think that that's when he looked the most like a villain. It was like, dude, just let it go at this point.
Yeah.
But the real ridiculous part of this, and this is where it's such a disappointment, and I'm sure many of our listeners have probably read and heard this same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lando there was an impending doom. He
Right.
had a 5-second penalty coming his way for track limits.
Lando?
Mm-hmm. If Max could have played nice, Lando wouldn't have gotten 5 seconds on him.
Yep.
And Max would have been able to stay within range and won the race.
Yeah.
But he was being a little bit of a child.
Max also, I feel like, just wants to send a message.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
Maybe.
And can you
on
fault him
track-
for that?
I mean, on track when you're racing for first place, and then when the points are starting to get close in the championship, I think it gets serious.
Right.
On the track, there is no loyalties. There's no friendships.
Right.
It's just give me the points.
And assuming that there is some friendship is like a childish mistake.
For real.
Is a big mistake.
And like I said, that little child Lando died in
Baby
that wreck.
Mario
Hopefully
died.
he died. Because Mr. Norris is going to come out to play now.
He just evolved with the mushroom.
It would be interesting to see if Lando gets a bit more aggressive
Yeah.
and gets a bit smarter.
I think
and
he
then
has
starts to play better with Max and not come in so like star-eyed and be like, yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that what perfectly illustrates that is we watched the 2021 season.
Oh, yeah. Lando didn't.
No, but we watched 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to just, again, use one more example of that,
Mhm.
Lewis has not raced Max his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
And Lewis and Max was an explosive fight
Yeah.
because Max would just run him wide and Lewis
Mhm.
would go, come on, penalize him. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And Charles Leclerc,
Yeah.
in the times that we've seen him race Max,
Interesting. Yeah.
doesn't have that happen.
That's crazy.
And
That's
it's
a
because
good
Charles
perspective.
knows how to beat
That's
him.
so wild, man.
And so I'm just saying,
Give Charles a faster car.
give Charles a chance, please. He can do it. But I also think that if Lando goes back and he studies Charles
Yeah.
and what he's done to be able to thwart Max moves,
Yeah.
what is it that he can do? What can he learn from that?
Yeah.
What can he go hang out with Fernando Alonso? You need to find the best overtakers in the business
Yeah.
and just study the crap out of him
Yeah.
because that's how he's going to beat Max.
I also think we need to remember that Formula One champions, when they're actually competing for the title, are different animals.
Are total psychopaths.
It's crazy. Like, you watch some of those older seasons, like when I started watching, and Lewis was running away with the title.
Right.
Happy-go-lucky dude.
Everything was fine.
2021 season was a
thank you.
different person.
Thank you to all
the
the men and women back in the factory.
And that's why I hate him.
Right, because he got so
those
annoying.
So annoying
He was
years.
snooty and just...
Yeah. And then the 2021 season, completely different person.
Right.
Also completely different to who he is now.
Right.
He has no shot at the first place.
No.
So he's just like, I'm doing my best.
Just
And I'm thankful.
racing.
And Mercedes might be screwing me over. Like,
Yeah.
it's all just like, whatever.
Right.
He's going to be a different animal when he's at Ferrari. And if they're competing at first place,
Right.
it's going to be wild again.
Definitely.
They just become different people.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Shoot. Cool.
So
Well,
I think that's kind of my analysis, though.
yeah, I like that.
I think it's a little bit more equal than people are thinking. I don't think there's so
We
much
don't
a
need to
villain.
be searching for Max's head right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's such a villain,
Also,
cut and
I
dry.
love people are so surprised by it.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought he had changed. He had turned
Yeah.
over a new leaf.
Yeah, you're like, no. He's Max.
Yeah, he's Max. Dude.
Yeah, he's still going to be Max.
And yeah.
But I think that what you said, I think, is really a good point, and even maybe just the icing on the cake.
That what?
This is sending a message for both of them. It's like friends, but we're competing for a championship.
Yeah.
So the friendship thing ends here.
Yeah.
Until the championship's over.
Yeah.
Then you guys can
And
go
then we
play
can-
paddle together.
And then we'll go play e-racing. We'll
Yeah.
go play Call of Duty together.
It'll be so fun.
Shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, but before you begin your note,
yeah.
I have a surprise.
What? Da-da-da. What is it?
It is a gift. It is a gift for Max's birthday.
Oh, thank you.
That I was going to open the show with, and then I looked down and I saw it, and I was like, I forgot about that. So we're going to do it after shifting
thanks.
gears.
Oh, what a nice surprise, dude. What is Talladega Nights?
I've never seen a shirt that I was more excited about.
Oh, dude, it's like nice.
It's like embroidered almost
It's like
at the
there's
front.
like a 3D. Oh, Ricky Bobby signed the shirt.
It's so
Dude,
rad.
that is sick. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Happy
There you go.
birthday. Yeah.
If
Dude.
you don't chew Big Red, well then you.
Dude, thanks, man. I love it. I'm going to wear this tomorrow, man. This is sick.
It's a rad shirt.
Yeah, you got to go back and listen to our episode about NASCAR and Talladega Nights.
And just because they are,
It is.
it is a very adequate
They are one and
representation
the
of the
same.
sport. They are.
So real. Okay, yeah, we're going to.
We could put that over there. Oh yeah, look
Heck
at
yeah,
that.
dude. Freaking love it. Thanks, man.
Yes,
That's really
of course. Here, I'll get
kind
rid of
you.
the bag.
Really kind of you. Okay, shifting gears.
Yes.
This weekend, there was rumors that Carlos was going to make a big announcement, and
Oh, yeah.
everyone's been speculating he's going to go to Williams, that there's some sort of deal cooking
Right.
in the background.
Right.
And so I just wanted to bring that up and talk about it a bit, because Williams doesn't seem like a good option to me.
Right.
Maybe they're cooking something up and they're promising Carlos something that they're going to be so great next year
Yeah.
or whenever new regulations hit.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, would Carlos be a good fit for Haas? Haas is, like we said, up in the points now.
Right.
They're becoming more attractive as an actual competitive team.
Right.
So would Carlos ever consider going to Haas?
Right.
Also, I'll just smack this in here.
Okay.
We had a listener write in. He
Okay.
asked us 2 questions. We'll knock this question out, and then we'll ask another of his questions later.
Who wrote
So this
in?
is Rob wrote in.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Rob. I don't know how to say your last name.
Well, thank you, Rob.
Civitella? Kivitella?
Okay.
It's a cool last name.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Sounds cool. Okay, his second question will say driver market in general. So we're going to talk about Carlos, or your thoughts on Mick testing for Alpine and what the real options are for our second seat at Haas.
Okay.
Could Pietro be considered? Some good options are still available, like Bottas, Zhou, and Ocon.
Okay.
Says, thanks, appreciate the content, go Haas. And then we're going to ask his second question in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we think is going to happen with Haas's open seat and any other options that exist out there on the grid?
Well, supposedly Flavio Briatore, who is brought back, and this is a part of the news that we haven't even talked about yet.
What do you mean he's brought back to Alpine?
Yeah, Flavio Briatore is now an executive. What do they call him? An executive consultant at Alpine.
Okay. Wow.
So he is a official a part of the team again.
Okay.
That's huge news because he was banned from the sport the last time he
this
was
is
with
that
Renault.
guy.
Yeah,
This is that guy. He was cheating.
Crashgate.
Crashgate.
Was Flavio Briatore,
And he's back.
he's back.
How did they swing that?
So he managed to get rid of
Money.
the ban. Yeah, yeah. Money can buy pretty
You're
much
never
anything.
allowed back. I have money. You're back.
Welcome in. We don't operate the way that Bernie Eccleston did. Yeah, how about this stack? All right.
Bernie
you. But who's Bernie? Welcome into the team. So Flavio's back.
Okay.
Flavio's been Fernando Alonso's manager. So he's the one that has operated for all of his contracts for the last while.
Even up until now.
Up until now.
Oh,
so
okay.
Flavio's still in the sport,
Mhm.
just from a little bit of at a distance.
Okay.
And Fernando's not his only driver. I think he does manage a few others. So this isn't something that's too out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, given his relationship to Renault, this is something that I I'm not surprised by, especially that they've been having a little bit better form, but also struggling through lots of team principal shuffling and all the things that we've discussed, right?
Right.
So having Flavio back is a big deal. But Flavio made supposedly a huge offer to Carlos
To come to Alpine.
and that supposedly derailed
The Williams thing.
the announcement that Carlos was going to make
Oh, that's
about
fascinating.
his decision.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Alpine is looking better than Williams,
right,
and they've in recent history had some good showing at the track.
a
in the
little
last
bit
couple
stronger
of years,
results,
whereas Williams hasn't been strong in a while.
right? And if we recall, when Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
he went to Renault.
Yeah.
When Carlos Sainz left Toro Rosso, he went to Renault.
Oh, so he knows what a French car's like.
He actually raced for Renault before
Yeah.
Daniel did.
Uh-huh.
And then when Daniel went to the team, they let him go.
Yeah.
And that's when he went to McLaren. But Carlos has opted for Renault in the past. He actually drove for them. So that relationship isn't that foreign either. It's not, Williams is something that he's never done.
Spain is close to France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Latin cultures.
Yeah.
Right? Is that right?
Are French people Latin?
I think so.
I
Their
don't know.
languages are pretty close.
Yeah.
But anyways, the thing about that move to me seems like it could be appealing. Now, the next regulation is really what all of the driver shuffling is about.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is putting all of your eggs into a basket of what you trust.
Yeah.
And
The Alpine deal would be attractive to me if I was Carlos.
right, well,
Yeah.
and if Audi had any showing right now
Yeah.
of being able to produce a chassis
Mm-hmm.
that was any good,
Yeah.
then maybe that would be an option.
But how do we know? I mean, do they even have the R8 anymore?
Do they? I have no idea.
I don't think they do.
I don't really pay attention.
They don't really make a supercar right now. So how do we know?
There's this really awkward limbo land.
How do you not know about Audi? Aren't you a car guy?
Yeah, I don't like them.
So you just don't even know.
I'm not much of an Audi guy.
That's
Interesting. I think Top Gear.
Now I know your blank spot for knowledge is Audi.
It is. It is. I liked the Quattro years when they were killing it in rally,
Okay, yeah.
and I liked the early Avants.
Okay, yeah.
But it kind of just became the tool car.
Okay, yeah.
BMW was the tool car for a long time,
And you stuck through it.
and no. No.
You owned a BMW.
I have owned several. I still own one.
Okay, yeah.
But Audi kind of took the lead, and they have just stayed there. It is like the business tool car,
Yeah, man.
in my
That
opinion.
Avant S6 wagon is
That thing's rad.
I
It's
saw
super
one
cool.
yesterday and it was sexy.
But I just feel like there's just a lot of people who drive A6s and
yeah.
Q5s. And
We
I
are
just-
way off topic. So,
Yeah.
Carlos, if
That
we
guy.
had any idea if Audi would be good, that would be more attractive.
But Sauber is just not delivering.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make them as appealing right now. It feels like you're so far off the
Yeah.
track.
And we mentioned it could be awful. Hulkenberg's looking at it now being like, ooh,
Yeah.
Haas is great.
Do I
Is this
regret
a good
this?
move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Carlos going to Haas could be an option.
Yeah.
It's a Ferrari power unit. It's
Yeah.
similar territory for what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But I think that there's some, in my mind, the only reason if I'm Carlos Sainz and the decision to go to another team
Mm-hmm.
at this stage, because I don't have a choice to stay at Ferrari, going to Haas, the only reason I wouldn't be as interested in it
Mm-hmm.
is knowing that I'm going to Ferrari B.
Yeah.
And I was just at Ferrari A, and that just doesn't appeal
yeah.
as much.
So do you think Mick Schumacher has a chance at Alpine?
No.
No.
No, I'm
That's
sorry.
that was
Nick.
quick, yeah. Do you think Mick Schumacher would go back to Haas?
I don't think so.
Dang.
I think that Mick right now might be an option for somebody, but there's just too much talent. It's really
And
hard
then you have
at this
people
stage.
like who? Like Ollie Behrman and Kimi
Kimi
Antonelli,
Antonelli.
maybe going to Mercedes.
And if you blow one of them off,
Then
you lose them like
you
Oscar Piastri.
Lose them
It's
forever. And
not
now
a
Oscar's
good
crushing it at McLaren.
right.
Dang, yeah.
So you
That's
can't
too
run
bad
that
for Mick.
risk.
He just had a bad time.
It was a bad
Timing,
window,
man.
and it's a rough go. But I feel like you'd have to be Mercedes, and you'd have to take a risk on him at
Yeah.
that point. But it's
So
tough.
Mick just needs to do a Tanya Harding thing to
Lewis.
Kimi Antonelli.
I actually think he needs to do it to Lewis. I take the Ferrari seat.
So who else is available for Haas? People talk about Ocon. We are praying that Ocon will not
Haas, if you do
Haas.
if you do hear me.
Yes.
If you do hear us.
Yes.
Ocon.
No one wants him on the team.
We do not want
We'd
that
rather
guy.
be in 10th.
Yes, thank you. we'll take anything else.
Yeah.
Anything.
But Bottas at Haas.
I love the idea of it.
Rad.
I do love the idea of it. Look, ultimately my goal and my hope is that Kevin maintains a seat.
Yeah.
I do think that he's
doing great. He got 8th.
Yeah, and I just
doing
feel
great.
like he fits the vibe of the team so well. I feel like they've built so much of who they are around Kevin.
Yeah.
That it feels wrong to not let him retire.
Mm-hmm.
It feels wrong to just be like, okay, we pick someone else.
Yeah.
Though I do think that Kevin, he's stated that he loves endurance racing more than IndyCar or other options.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he doesn't stay, that would be his pick.
Yeah.
But if in the scenario where we're losing Kevin because he chooses not to continue, because that's the only way I feel comfortable talking about this, because I don't want Kevin to go.
Yeah, we don't.
I think that Bottas would be my first pick.
Yeah.
If I had an option, I would be like Bottas.
Well, it's Bottas and Kevin. There's 2 seats at Haas.
Yeah, but Ollie Behrman is more than likely coming to the team.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Forget about that guy.
So if Kevin was leaving, then I'm voting for a Bottas replacement.
His social media presence would be so great for the team because he already has this like Australian American vibe that's like synergizes well with what Haas could be.
And the quirky, fun
mullet,
yeah,
loving guy who's going to Aspen a lot. Like he hangs out in the U.S.
Yeah.
He would be a good fit for Haas.
I really do think that he would crush it. And I think he would find a little more satisfaction than he has at Sauber with the Haas
He's
team.
kind of been, drifting at the back.
And I just think that it's because of the amount of shifting and shuffling that's going on because of the takeover. It's a little bit of a rough period to be there.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, was there another driver in that mix?
Joe Guan Yu.
I think that Joe deserves a seat, but it's going to be up to Audi because I have a feeling that that's going to be really challenging to get another one.
Okay, we'll go to his other question. This is again from Rob. He says, Alpine considering becoming a customer. I don't really know what that means.
Okay.
Where that leaves Andretti, considering F1's argument against competition. So is he asking Alpine considering being sold to someone like Andretti? What does that mean?
So Alpine becoming a customer would make them a non-engine supplying manufacturer.
Oh, they have their own little engine right now. They have a little tiny little Renault.
It's just the cutest
It's a little 2-cylinder.
It comes out of their little hatchback.
It's a 2-stroke. It does a gas oil mixture.
You have to mix it. You gotta get it right.
Sounds like a lawnmower.
Yeah,
but it just putters around.
I mean, even at the power disadvantage right now, Alpine has been keeping up, which is pretty impressive. And if I'm the company right now looking at what we've built, it would be a little bit of a shame to forfeit that at this point.
Okay, so becoming a customer means now you're buying a Honda unit, a Mercedes unit, a Ferrari unit.
Right.
Gotcha.
One of the teams that are one of the existing power units that in the sport.
Power unit supplier people.
Right.
Okay.
I don't think it's the most far-fetched idea. There have been time periods where Renault has been the chassis maker and there have been other engine suppliers or vice versa.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a Lotus Renault at one point where the chassis was Lotus, but it was a Renault.
Okay.
And so, there's been times where people have done things like this.
Yeah.
And where this new engine regulation is a large shift in the sense of how much, as we talked about in the previous episode, how much electrical energy it's going to generate. It's 50% of the power unit. That's a lot to take on for development cost.
But they have been increasing their performance in races lately.
Right.
So maybe they'll continue to do that, and maybe they'll be fine with their own power unit in the future.
Well, and I think that this is part of Flavio's deal, part of why he's there. Right, is he going to help them steer in the direction of staying an engine supplier?
Yeah.
Or are they going to steer in the direction of taking on one of these other options?
Yeah. And what do you think is the chances of the Andrettis in the General Motors team?
I really doubt it.
Really doubt it.
I really doubt it. I don't know if I've ever really actually taken the stance, or have we really talked about this at all?
Not really. We mentioned it every now and then. We haven't really dove deep into it.
The Andretti's approach to joining Formula One was so different to anyone else. And it was the most Miami Grand Prix version of joining Formula One as a metaphor
that I've seen.
Yeah. And the approach was, we have Cadillac, General Motors behind us. We're submitting our bid to Formula One. Here's the press release. Everyone talk about
It was
us.
just big American big.
But Formula One isn't Big Macs.
Okay, yeah.
It's not even remotely Big Mac.
Hmm.
It's such a different culture.
Okay.
So you're basically out of the gate admitting that you know nothing about what you're setting yourself up for.
You're not
right?
really matching the brand.
Not even in the slightest, right?
Right.
And so they come in here banging a drum with a marching band. We're joining F1.
Yeah.
And it was a blackmail move. In my opinion, putting it in the public that you're putting in a bid to join the sport. Now the whole world is aware that you
It's true. Everyone
are joining.
Everyone kind of assumed that they were.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when they didn't qualify because the sport said, look, you're going to join right before a regulation shift. You're going to invest millions in developing that first car. Ridiculous amounts.
Mm-hmm.
Then an entire regulation is going to come out and you're going to have to spend even more. Your company will go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Wait until 28. That was Formula One's reaction.
That was their first kind of reaction.
That was their first reaction.
Yeah.
This isn't probably the best timing for you to join. Wait until 2028.
Yeah.
And what did the Andrettis do? How dare they?
Yeah.
They spit in our face. And then all the fans on Twitter, they're like, they don't even want Americans joining the sport. The narrative was so out of control.
And didn't the Andretti's like take it to court?
Yes. No,
or something?
Some
Or
congressional people started writing...
Which is
Formula One saying that it was
insane.
against the law in the U.S. to do what they were doing.
Which is weird.
And once again, like now behaving
I don't
like
have a dog in either fight, but I'm like, that's weird.
petulant children is what comes to mind when I think of like, I went and told daddy, now, father,
Yeah.
you went and told the government they're going to come after me and tell me that what I did was wrong.
Yeah.
And Greg Maffei, who's the CEO of Liberty Media, basically said, and this was out in the media to some degree, there's no way that while he's in power, the Andrettis will join Formula One for the way that they have behaved.
Oh, because Andretti was like, I am taking the government and coming to your
you
door.
You can't tell me no.
And it's like, dude, why would we want you in our sport now?
Yeah. Could you imagine having a country club or something, or some kind of club?
Formula One's a club.
It is
It's a piranha club.
Yeah, well, and it's also a sport, which means that you have the right to refuse teams.
It's your thing.
Do you think the NFL just would say that, like, some random city in North Dakota is going to get a team just because they submitted? It's no, you have to have all the ingredients, right?
Interesting.
So they have that right.
Yeah.
And then to be told no is like, well, that's what happened to 6 other people who have tried.
Yeah.
By the way, you weren't the only one. But they didn't come in with a marching band, so no one knew about them.
Yeah.
And then you throw a fit. And all the fans out there are going, you don't even want Americans. This is ridiculous. They spat in our face. We're racing heritage, all these things. And then when the government approached them and things, they're like, well, you're never joining now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I do not blame Formula One. I don't blame them. I think that they were 100% accurate in the way they reacted.
Totally.
And I think the Andrettis sort of blew their opportunity, which is a shame.
It's a shame.
Because I like the Andrettis.
We like the Andrettis.
And I would love to have more American influence in the sport, but not at that cost.
Great question. Thanks, Rob, for writing in. Great answer, Mike. If you want to answer, if you want to have any questions answered on the podcast, please send them in. That guy wrote us on Instagram. Rob wrote us on Instagram.
Thank you, Rob.
It's a quick and easy way to do it. So
definitely.
Hopefully we hear from you. Hopefully you enjoy the episode. Anything else, Mike?
No.
Okay. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube. Watch every episode on YouTube. And we'll see you later.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Oh, so he knows what a French car's like.